Assalamu alaikum dear students. This is Department of English, Government Postgraduate College Attic, and I am Nasir Ali Shah. This is our second lecture on the first chapter of Intermediate Book 2, which is The Dying Sun by Sir James Steels. Students, in our previous lecture, we had a little introduction about the author of this essay, as well as we had studied the first paragraph of this chapter. Let's have a little review of that first paragraph. In first paragraph, we read that the writer tells us about the total number of stars in this universe, and he tells us about the size of the other stars and compares the size of our Earth with those stars. The writer says that in this universe, most of the stars are so big, so large, that hundreds and thousands of Earths could be packed inside each and still leave room to spare. It means that those stars are so huge, so large, that they are millions of times bigger than the Earth. Moreover, the writer tells that the total number of stars in this universe is probably something like the total number of grains of sand on all the seashores of the world. Students, you would remember that in our previous lecture I had asked you a question from this first paragraph, and question number 1 is, what is the total number of stars in this universe? And the answer is, the total number of stars in the universe is probably something like the total number of grains of sand on all the seashores of the world. This question is out of the first paragraph which you have read so far. Now we continue our textual study. We come to the second paragraph. The sentence is, these millions of stars are wandering about in space. As the writer has told us earlier that there are millions or even billions of stars in this universe which are moving, are traveling, or wandering about in the space. Wander means they are roaming about or traveling in the space. Next sentence is, a few form groups with journey and company. A few mean a few of them. Some stars, a few stars make a group. Form mean make up. Tashkil dena, banana. A few stars make groups which travel in complement together. They travel together. But most of the stars, most of them travel alone. It means that these millions of stars are present or wandering about in the space. Some of them make groups and travel together in company, but most of the stars travel alone. Travel alone means they travel at a distance of millions of miles from one another. They do not travel in each other's company. Next sentence is, and they travel through a universe so immense that it is very, very rare event indeed for one star to come anywhere near to another. These stars travel through mean from inside this universe, from one end or one point of this universe to another. They are wandering into the space, which is so immense. Immense means huge, very large. These stars are wandering through or traveling or voyaging in the space or in the universe, which is so immense, means which is so huge, so large, that it is very, very rare event. Rare mean anything which is not so common, which does not happen often or every other day, which is not a normal routine of things or happenings. So it is very, very rare event. Event mean any happening or incident. So the writer has used very, very rare event. He has used the word adjective very twice, which shows that it is extremely rare event. Rare mean uncommon event or happening for one star, which is a rare event, for one star to come anywhere near to another. As the writer has told us earlier that this universe is so huge, so immense, so vast that the stars travel alone, they travel at millions of miles from one another. So for any star to come anywhere near to another star, it would be a rare event. It does not happen so often in months or even years or even centuries that the stars come close to one another. That is why it is a rare event. For the most part, each star makes its voyage in complete loneliness. Because for the most part means for the most part of his travel, for the most part of his journey, any star makes its voyage. Voyage means travel or journey, but there's a little difference. Voyage, this word voyage is generally used for traveling in the sea through a boat or a ship. So the writer tells that here it means travel or journey of the stars. The writer says, for the most part, each star makes its voyage in complete loneliness. It means that each star makes its journey or travel at a great distance from another star. That is why the word loneliness is used, because it does not come very close to another. Like a ship in an empty ocean. Here the writer gives the example of the stars traveling through the space. That is why the writer has used the word voyage. The writer says that any star wandering through space or traveling through space is lonely or making its journey in loneliness, because it is just like a ship which is traveling or voyaging in an empty ocean. Now here empty ocean means any ocean or any sea in which there is only one ship traveling. There is no other ship traveling or voyaging in that ocean or sea. What is the difference between ocean and sea? Ocean is also a sea, but there is a difference. Sea is generally any sea, and ocean means huge or large sea. So some of the seas are very huge in size, very large in size, so they are called oceans. Now here the writer tells us about the distance between the stars and their journey or their travel in the space through an example. The writer gives the example of a ship which is alone traveling in a huge sea or ocean. When there will be single ship traveling in an ocean, there will be no chance of that ship colliding or coming anywhere near close to the other ship, because it is traveling alone in that ocean. So the writer gives this example that the stars are just like these ships traveling alone in an ocean. That is why there is no chance of any star coming close to another star. Next sentence reads, in a scale model in which the stars are ships, the average ship will be well over 1 million miles from its nearest neighbor. Now here the writer gives us the idea of the distance of stars between one another. That is why the writer gives an example that if we want to study the travel or distance of stars, just like in a lab, we make a scale model in which the stars are shown just like the ships traveling in an ocean. The writer says that the average ship, if we take a model, little model, to understand this huge and vast universe, because we cannot look at the whole of the universe, and we cannot ascertain or measure up the distance between the stars. So, in a scale model, if we take an example in which the stars are shown just like the ships, the writer says that the average ship will be well over 1,000,000 miles from its nearest neighbor. Nearest neighbor means from another star which is very close to that star, or another ship which is close to one ship. So, the average ship will be well over 1,000,000 miles from its nearest neighbor or any other ship. Million is a number of 10 lakhs, the distance between one ship and another ship, or the distance between the one star and another star, will be over 10 million, over 1,000,000 miles, means over 10 lakh miles. So, from this example, we have a little idea about the distance between the stars. They are traveling at a huge distance from one another, that for any star to come close to another star, it would be a very, very rare event, because they are not traveling or moving in space very close to one another, as one might think, or we may see at night in the sky, and we see very little stars, and we see them very close to one another, but because they are millions or billions of miles away from us, that is why they look very tiny, very small to us while we are standing upon this earth, and they look very close to us from that huge distance. But in fact, they have the millions of miles of distance between them. So, the last sentence of the paragraph is, from this it is easy to understand why a star seldom finds another anywhere near it. So, the writer has given an example to make us realize, or to make us understand how huge the distance is between the two stars which are very close to one another. So, from this example, it becomes a little easy for us to understand that it is a very, very rare event for one star to come anywhere near to another. Seldom mean not very often. So, this is the second paragraph. Hope you would have understood it. Now, students, you should make a little list in your notebooks to note down the difficult words out of this paragraph which we are reading, and you should write down the difficult words along with the meanings in Urdu to understand, as well as in English. Here is another question from this paragraph which we have just read. The question is, how do the stars travel in space? And its answer is, a few stars make groups which journey in company. In company means they journey together, but most of them travel alone. The next question is, why is it that a star seldom finds another star near it? You should be able to answer this question because we have just read it. And the answer is, as the universe is so vast, vast means very huge, very large. This universe in which we are living, it is very huge, very large. It is so vast. So it is very rare. Rare means any event or any incident that does not happen quite often, which is not very common happening. So it is very rare that a star should come near another star during its journey. Each star makes its journey in complete loneliness. It travels at a distance of millions of miles from another star. So, the students, uh, this is the textual study of our second lecture on this chapter, The Dying Sun. And the questions out of this text which we have read so far, you should write down these questions along with answers into your notebooks so that you may be well prepared for your exams. We shall continue the textual study of this chapter in our next lectures. Till then, goodbye and Allah Hafiz.